I was scrolling through my comments thinking about what I should do for this week's video, and I saw this. Can you make a device that can get you to the world limit without breaking? This is gonna be fun. Let's get to it. Now, there are a couple different ways I can think to make this happen, but I want to start off with something wild, which involves a somewhat complex trick called recall launching. And if you've been around for a while, you would know I've used this trick in a video before, where I was launching objects to ring a bell. You would also know that I kinda struggled to hit that bell. But today, I'm not launching items at a target. Instead, I want to launch Link to the top of the map. So, it should be easy, right? In order to test this thoroughly, I want to launch Link from both the ground and from the sky islands. But first, let's go over how recall launch works.
Outstanding!
To start off, you'll need two items, a fan and a piece of wood. You take your fan and flip it upside down, or just make sure the little paintbrush is facing upwards. From here, you get in this position and pick up the fan. You will notice as we pick it up, you see it does a little flip in our hands, and that is what causes us to launch. So, quickly put the fan down, attach the board, and recall the fan. Get into position and prepare to be launched. If you're like me, chances are you won't get launched very far on the first few attempts. Sometimes you gain momentum way too fast, and it makes you hit an invisible wall. But just stick with it, and eventually this will happen. And yeah, that's nowhere near the world limit. But it is a fast way to gain height. So let's go to the Sky Islands and try to make it happen again. I set a goal to hit 1,000 subs by the end of February to celebrate my first year as a content creator, and we're so close. So if you haven't yet, hit the button. I got up to one of those really high spots where you do those skydiving tests, and I attempted the trick. And to my surprise, it worked on the first try. But, yeah, it was nowhere near the world limit. So, I set off to the tallest point I could find. That way, I could try the trick one more time. And this was the place. That blue thing on the ground is a fast travel medallion, just in case I want to come back here for another test I have later on. Either way, here goes recall launching. After a handful of attempts, I finally got it to work once again. But I have a feeling we didn't get that close to the world limit. Just to be sure how far up the limit is, I took out my trusty hover bike and proceeded to fly up as far as the game would let me. And this was as far as I could go, because the barrier forced me off my bike. But at least I got somewhat of an idea of how far up I need to go. Hit the subscribe button, please. If recall launching won't get me to the sky limit, and our hover bike is just kind of a bland way to accomplish it, what could I build that would at least look cool while trying to race to the top of the map? I know. I'll just try out this comment. Could you build a helicopter? Yeah, I don't know the first thing about how I will accomplish this, but that hasn't stopped me before. So let's come up with the design. The main problem I'm having here is I want the blades to face this way, but that's the direction that it blows the wind. So we're gonna have a pretty funny looking helicopter on our hands. And yeah, this probably isn't the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear helicopter, but it does in fact get results because we are climbing at a pretty good speed. And a few large Zonai charges later, we hit the world limit of 4185 with our semi-beautiful helicopter. So, let's skydive to the ground. It was a real surprise the helicopter didn't even break, and a star piece even landed on the house. So overall, I call this experiment a success. If you enjoyed this video, leave a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And as always, I'll catch you next time.